Hare Krishna. Welcome to our channel. Bhagavad-gita, here it is. Because we have Bhagavad-gita as it is, translated and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and my name is Latika. We are in the 13th chapter, Nature, the Enjoyer and Consciousness. Today we will read text 19 because we're actually very systematically going through the whole Bhagavad-gita, and I hope you will come along with us.
Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalang.
Yes, so here we are, text 19 in the 13th chapter. I'll start with the Sanskrit because I'm really happy about the fact that although I am not a scholar and I haven't studied Sanskrit as such, just having it as part of the Bhagavad-gita brings us closer to the origin, to what Krishna actually spoke. I know I might have said that before. A long time ago, a very long time ago, I started to become interested in spiritual matters, which is a funny phrase. And the closest thing here is obviously Christianity. It's the religion you find if you're in Sweden. And I got hold of a Bible, and I can't remember what edition it was. It was an unusual edition because it had footnotes, and it wasn't the same one that you usually find in churches. And at one point this footnote said, there was one of those little little stars. And then at the bottom of the page it said, here we are unsure if the person being referred to is Jesus or the devil. And then I felt, okay, so why am I reading this book? If they are not sure, then what am I getting? Of course, that was just a detail, and I am sure the Bible you can find lots of spiritual knowledge. But the fact that we have the verses, the Sanskrit and the translation word by word and the translation of the verse, and then the commentary by Srila Prabhupada, who is a very, well, of course, he's the founder of the whole Hare Krishna movement, so I am very indebted to him and have deep respect for his spiritual knowledge and realization and ability to share this with us. But just from an objective point of view, his level of deep understanding of these texts is on a different level. I've been listening to some old classes and discussions, and they have kept them. They have taped them, and they are still there. And sometimes he speaks with a Sanskrit scholar who will present some opinion or some idea, and then Prabhupada would, in a humble way, said, well, I understood it more like this, and then the scholar would realize that there were more depth in this meaning than they would have originally expected. So the fact that the text is there so that I can have access to all the words and everything that Krishna said, and at the same time the translation is there, because for me to just put the words in a line doesn't give me the same depth of understanding. So I'm very happy to read the Sanskrit. I know sometimes we just read the text, but I'm really enjoying the Sanskrit here, so I will share it with you as well. Text 19. Iti kshetrang tatha jnanang yeyam choktang samasataha madbhakta etat vigyaya madbhavayo papadyate. Thus, the field of activities, the body, knowledge, and the knowable have been summarily described by me. Only my devotees can understand this thoroughly and thus attain to my nature. Of course, I'm not reading all of it. I'm not reading word by word because I think it wouldn't come across as very interesting. Anyway, if you would like me to read the word by word translation, you can comment, and I would love to do it. But we're keeping the format short and simple, so it won't be because hearing and watching a screen, it's not an activity you can do for such a long time. If we would be in the same room together, we could probably read and discuss and ask questions and comments, and we could go on for hours, because Bhagavad-gita is wonderful. But going through that medium of the screen, we want to keep it short and nice. So, yes. Thus the field of activities, the body, knowledge and the knowable have been summarily described by me. Only my devotees can understand this thoroughly and thus attain to my nature. The Lord has described in summary the body, knowledge and the knowable. This knowledge is of three things: the knower, the knowable and the process of knowing. Combined, these are called vijnana, or the science of knowledge. Perfect knowledge can be understood by the unalloyed devotees of the Lord directly. Others are unable to understand. The monists say that at the ultimate stage these three items become one, but the devotee does not accept this. Knowledge and development of knowledge means understanding oneself in Krishna consciousness. We are being led by material consciousness, but as soon as we transfer all consciousness to Krishna's activities and realize that Krishna is everything, then we attain real knowledge. In other words, knowledge is nothing but the preliminary stage of understanding devotional service perfectly. In the 15th chapter, this will be very clearly explained. Yeah, so there's a question of perspective. Sometimes the Bhagavad-gita is available on these regular online shopping platforms. And I've been reading comments on it. And it was very funny because there were many books and they would have like 2 or 5 comments by the people who'd been interested in them. And Bhagavad-gita had like hundreds of comments. And I didn't read all of them. But the ones I scrolled through, they divided kind of on 2 sides. One side was saying, well, we have the Bhagavad-gita. It is an old book. It is a famous book. And why is this Bhakti-vedanta writing so much? We don't need that. And what is he anyway talking about? We are so happy just to read the text. And then those who appreciated this Bhakti-vedanta purports and translation and how he delivers Krishna's actual intent with the Bhagavad-gita, they would be the other half who would say, oh, this book is wonderful, there's nothing like it. And without Bhakti-vedanta's translations and purports, we wouldn't have access to it in the same way. And that's kind of interesting here, because knowledge is nothing but the preliminary stage of understanding devotional service perfectly. So that is the activity, realizing that Krishna is everything. That is what we do. And then those who are not in the same place will look and say, why are we making everything about Krishna? There's so much variety. Can't we just keep our variety? It's not that there is less variety in Krishna, because Krishna is the basis of everything, and there's a lot of everything to go around. But if we don't understand where it comes from, and who we are, and how it connects, then we'll get lost in the glitter of it all, in the I'm usually able to just pull some example out of the thin air, and now I'm not so able to do it. But it's like if you go for a walk in a forest and you're on your way somewhere, and you can certainly admire the nature and the trees and, I don't know, pick some berries or hear some birds. But you know where you're going. And if you just kind of start to go from tree to tree, I live out in the countryside, and there was one point where the children, now my children are big, but that generation of children, they were kind of small. They were, I don't know, 8 or 10 or something like that. They went for a walk in the forest, and they just got deeper and deeper into the forest until they didn't know where they were. And they got quite frantic. And somehow or another, they came to a place where they recognized where they were, and they got out on the road and they got back again. But it's quite possible, if you have a forest that's big enough, you look at one tree and one bird and one patch of blueberries and one, what you call them, a river, I want to say, the small rivers, a brook, is that what you call it, a brook? And then after a while you realize that you have no idea where you are, and you can't find your way out. So this world and the whole existence of the material world is like that. All these things are there, and they're all impressive and fascinating and beautiful and so on, which we heard when Krishna was describing his universal form. Just by a spark of his splendor, He generates everything that's wonderful in this existence. So we can certainly appreciate that. But if we lose track of what is what, then we'll just be wandering in this world forever, totally bewildered. So in Bhagavad-gita, we come back to the point. I was also listening to, I'm not the only one speaking Bhagavad-gita or Krishna consciousness. Obviously, the internet is full of Hare Krishna devotees trying to share this culture of Krishna consciousness. And one devotee was speaking about how he came in contact with the devotees, and he liked the philosophy, he liked the lifestyle, he liked the whole thing, but he had this doubt that, I'm a young man, I have my life ahead of me. So much I want to do. I want to travel, I want to learn things, I want to see things. I don't want to limit myself to just, be at Hare Krishna in this temple, in these clothes, with these activities. And then the person he spoke to said, no, we can do everything, but we do it for Krishna. So if you have an inclination, like if you're, a musician, or you like cooking, or you like traveling, you like studying, or, all these activities, all the parts of the material existence, it's not that by seeing Krishna, you see less of the variety. But it is, when you see Krishna, then everything connects. Then you're in touch with reality. And maybe before you're able to take your self-realization, take your Krishna consciousness and place it in all these other situations, maybe to start off with, it's good to first find that focus. Maybe it's good to live as a monk or a nun for a while and just do the service and the meditation and the studying to be more established. That's actually the Vedic, the progression of life. As children go to school to study, then they take up this renounced life of brahmachari. Like they for a child, it is not a big problem to be celibate. So that is part of the student time, and they are living as a servant of the guru in the ashram, as a servant. And then they get the knowledge, and they also get to grow their character and the realization of spiritual life. And then when they're done with the studies, the natural thing would be to go out in the world, to maybe have a family, to have an income, but keeping that foundation of a spiritual understanding from the time of studying. Of course, most of us to come to Krishna consciousness, we don't come as children. Of course, we have a whole second generation who did that, but I think we still have a larger group who came on their own initiative as grown-ups, maybe very young grown-ups, but still as grown-ups. So this time of being a student, it has already passed, but then it's actually quite helpful to spend some time being dedicated to the life in a Krishna temple. And this does not limit you, but it grounds you and anchors you and makes you strong in your spiritual realization. And then we can take on the world. Like Prabhupada came to America alone at the age of, he was almost 70. He landed alone in New York. He stayed with a family that was like the family of a acquaintance, a friend who supported him when he started. And then he left that and he just kind of went out there and trusted Krishna and planted this Krishna consciousness in, practically speaking, every country on the globe. So by seeing Krishna in everything, and by seeing everything as an opportunity of service to Krishna, it doesn't limit us, but it makes us understand things, like the root of things, the reality of things, the fundamental reality of existence. And it's an opportunity as a human being to actually go ahead and do that. Now, to summarize, one may understand that verses 6 and 7, beginning from Aha Bhutani and continuing through tana, dritti, analyze the material elements and certain manifestations of the symptoms of life. These combine to form the body or the field of activities. And verses 8 through 12, from Amanitvam through Tattva Jnanartha Darshanam, describe the process of knowledge for understanding both types of knower of the field of activities, namely the soul and the supersoul. Then verses 13 through 18, beginning from Anadi, Mat Param, and continuing through Hriddhi Sarvasya Vishthitam, describe the soul and the Supreme Lord or the supersoul. Thus 3 items have been described: the field of activity, the body, the process of understanding, and both the soul and the supersoul. It is especially described here that only the unalloyed devotees of the Lord can understand these 3 items clearly. So for these devotees, Bhagavad-gita is fully useful. It is they who can attain the supreme goal, the nature of the Supreme Lord. In other words, only devotees and not others can understand Bhagavad-gita and derive the desired success. And before you're saying that's not fair, let me explain how this actually works. It's nothing new, of course. We come back to that over and over. It is not that Krishna is forcing us to be in the material world. It is not that Krishna is stopping us from understanding these things. It is the factor of free will. We as individual living entities, basically our nature is to have a relationship of loving service to Krishna. And that relationship is reciprocated, it's individual, it's dynamic, and it's fully satisfying to the soul. But if for one reason or another we decline, we're thinking, no, I don't want to serve Krishna. I don't want to be in this relationship with Krishna. That, of course, we cannot avoid being in a relationship with Krishna because everything is Krishna, either directly or indirectly. It's Krishna as a person or Krishna's energies in the form of the world around us, the other living beings around us. There's no way we can turn where there is no Krishna. So this material world comes equipped with the fundamental function of illusion. We can forget Krishna because Krishna gives us the facility to forget him. So we're here in this world because we have chosen to forget Krishna in order to try to experience an existence without Krishna. And there is no such existence. But that's what we are here for. That's what's on the menu. And as long as that is what we want, Krishna is not going to spoil our opportunity to explore our free will by going, haha, I'm here. Do you see me now? There's nowhere where I'm not. Krishna is not like that. Krishna is not, petty or smug or, He has given us this opportunity and we can take full advantage of it. We're welcome. But as long as that is our aim, we're not going to understand reality with the perspective of devotional service to Krishna, because that is exactly what we are trying to avoid. So it's not Krishna's fault. And in a sense, sometimes we can say it's not even our fault, because maybe we made a mistake. We speak about it as envy of Krishna's position as the enjoyer and the controller. We are trying to experience that position, and that will forever be an illusion, because we are not the enjoyer and the controller. We are a small, dependent soul, part and parcel of Krishna and his eternal servant. And try as we may, that does not change, but we can decide not to act on it, and we have been given this wonderful world, this unlimitedly what do you call it? The mother of enjoyment, diversity, I don't know what you call it. But so many opportunities to try and experience life here. And all of them empty promises, because the only thing that will satisfy the heart is that love of God. And that is what we are avoiding. So we are putting ourselves in this situation, and we are so accustomed to it that even I love Bhagavad-gita. I want to serve Krishna. I want to understand these things. And sometimes I can feeling every page says, yes, surrender to Krishna. Yes, devotion and service. And it's not like that. It's not a boring thing. It's just the basis for the rest. It's like if you want to build a house and you're thinking about your beautiful house and you will have a kitchen that you can cook in, and you can store the food, and you can sit down with your friends, and you'll have a library with all your favorite books, and you'll have such a peaceful, restful bedroom, and you'll sleep. You sleep better than you ever slept before, and your bathroom is good and well equipped, and you have maybe a separate bathroom, and you have guests so that you won't have to wait for each other, and all these things, and you can decide the colors and the wallpaper and the curtains and the furniture. But you can have none of those things unless you build the foundation. So when you want to have that house, then you plan for the foundation. You place down the foundation, and you don't jump over the foundation, because without foundation there will be nothing. There will be no house. So spiritual life, spiritual realization, liberation, and diving deeper into the understanding of bhakti, that is all well and good. But the foundation is understanding who are we and who is Krishna and what is our relationship. So we have to go back to that over and over again, and we have to understand that very, very thoroughly, because that's the foundation for everything, and that's reality. And if we don't understand it, means we don't want to be Krishna's devotees. And if we are Krishna's devotees, means we want to understand this aspect of reality. It's not Krishna's fault. This is just the way it is. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for watching. We aim for updates every Tuesday and Friday. Please come back. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down there. We also have some links and information for you. And there is, of course, the subscribe button. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
I'm a Hare Krishna, and I approve this message. Subscribe.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.